Imagine travelling 238,000 miles through space, landing on another world, and still being told it was all fake. Yeah, tonight we're going there. The year is 1969. Nixon's in the White House, the Cold War is at peak frost, and 600 million people gather around flickering TV sets to watch two men walk on the moon. But not everyone's buying it. The moon landing conspiracy didn't explode overnight. It festered over decades through skepticism, strange footage, and, let's be honest, a deeply rooted mistrust in government. The theory really began to gain steam in the 1970s after a man named Bill Kaysing, who incidentally worked as a technical writer in the rocket industry but wasn't a rocket scientist, published a pamphlet declaring the moon landings were staged. His book was called "We Never Went to the Moon." Kaysing's claims were weird, inconsistent, and honestly kind of rambling, but they struck a nerve. Why? Because they sounded just plausible enough to feel dangerous. And they came at a time when public trust in the US government had already been badly shaken by the Vietnam War and soon, Watergate. Here's the thing. The footage is weird. Buzz Aldrin bouncing in low gravity, no stars in the sky, the flag waving when there's no wind. It all looks off. Conspiracy theorists point to shadows that don't align, crosshairs supposedly sitting behind objects instead of in front, and that infamous flag, fluttering as if someone off camera gave it a nudge. But let's take a breath. The shadows thing? That's just how perspective works when you're dealing with uneven surfaces and one light source, the sun. No stars visible. That camera exposure was set for lit objects, not distant pinpricks. As for the flag, it had a horizontal rod attached to make it visible. It's not flapping, it's bouncing from being handled. Still, when viewed through glitchy old recordings, degraded film, and second-hand images, it's easy to see how these details could look suspect, especially if you're already leaning toward doubt. You've probably heard this one. Stanley Kubrick helped fake the moon landing. Supposedly, after directing 2001: A Space Odyssey, NASA realised he was just the guy to simulate zero gravity and fool the world. There are breadcrumbs the theory relies on, like the claim that Kubrick's film was a proof of concept for the landing footage, or that The Shining, yes, seriously, is filled with hidden confessions. Danny's Apollo 11 sweater, Room 237, which some say references the moon's distance from Earth. And look, Kubrick didn't help with the moon landing. What he did do was film with such obsessiveness that conspiracy theorists looked at him and thought, yeah, he could totally pull this off. Occam's razor suggests a more boring answer. NASA had a lot of camera tech and years of practice filming test flights. But it's just so much more fun to imagine dimly lit warehouses, hush money, and directors gone rogue, isn't it? Okay, so let's bring things back to Earth. The science is fiercely on the side of, yes, we went to the moon. There's retroreflectors still on the surface that bounce lasers back to Earth. Moon rocks brought home, tested by scientists around the world, and you don't exactly keep 400,000 NASA employees quiet for decades. Radio transmissions were tracked by independent sources all over the planet, including some that weren't exactly US allies. Multiple countries have since taken high-resolution photographs of the moon's surface, showing the actual landing sites. But when a lie seems easier than the truth, especially one soaked in patriotism and politics, it sticks around like moon dust in a hatch seal. And honestly, science never stands much chance when it's up against cinematic drama and mistrust. Here's the deeper layer. This isn't just a conspiracy about space, it's about what it means to believe. The moon landing theory taps into a broader truth. People need to feel like they're the ones who finally see through the illusion. It's empowering, in a muddied, lonely kind of way. The government hides things, that's not even debatable. So when someone shouts, "It was all staged," it resonates. Not because of the evidence, but because of the emotion. Conspiracies like this often flourish during times of instability and fear. And the fact it still circulates decades later, even with all the debunks, says a lot about us. Maybe we're not arguing about the moon. Maybe we're arguing about who gets to define reality. Now, whether you believe we touched lunar soil or a Hollywood soundstage, one thing's clear. Truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. Thanks for staying curious with me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and yeah, we've got a new eerie rabbit hole every weeknight. That was your dose of the unknown. See you in the next file. Subscribe for more of the unknown.